All right, cool. Welcome to a Saturday night edition of Humans of Grappling. Um, my wife is out to dinner with one of her friends, so here I am, fucking around with new setups and whatnot. Like I'm trying to use my GoPro here, so hopefully it looks better, and we can. I don't know. It's slightly better quality than just the MacBook Pro webcam. So anyways, the whole day I've been thinking about. I only read like, I don't know, 20 pages of the Black Swan, and it like spurred a bunch of ideas for me. And the main thing that he gets into, this is a 19 or no, this is a 2007 book. So he's talking about in 1987 him learning this like distinguishing feature between like scalable jobs and unscalable jobs, and I think he learned this in like grad school or something. Or again, author Nassim Nicholas Taleb, very like he has my dream job basically. Is he's a trader, but he made so much money that he just gets to think all day, and he just gets to read. And his whole idea is to like this is his thesis, is the Black Swan. So he figures out what things are possible to happen that haven't happened yet, that have never happened yet. I know I'm like going off on kind of 5 different directions here, but so he initially learned this concept of like scalable versus not scalable, and he kind of breaks this down even more. That's like his first conception of the idea, and his more refined way he's been working on is he calls it Mediocristan and Extremistan. So things are either very like normal and like predictable, and they incrementally go along in Mediocristan, and in Extremistan things go either up and to the right really quickly or super down. And I think the video's flipped here, so maybe like we'll see how it ends up. But like he uses the example of like weight. So think of like how big a person is. Like think of how the biggest possible person that you can think of, and like a Brock Lesnar type of character, or a, I don't know, like a NFL lineman who's whatever 350 pounds, like is quick, right? Like, but get say 10,000 people in a stadium or 1,000 people in a stadium, and the average, he only moves the average like a little bit in terms of weight, right? Like if you have if you take the average of 1,000 people or 10,000 people, that one individual who's say tilts the scales at 4 or 5, say they're not an NFL lineman anymore, they're the 1,000-pound sisters or whatever, right? The average isn't going to move all that much, just because humans, given you have enough data points to say, okay, humans are between like 100 pounds and whatever 200-300 pounds. Like that's kind of what the average works out to. Whatever the average is, average American is probably 200 something, right? Or 180 to 200 something. So so he says that's like Mediocristan is limited by gravity. Like there's some kind of physical construct, some kind of physical limitation to things. An analogous thing to this is working with your time, is working a 9 to 5, getting paid hourly by a 9 to 5, right? So you only have so many hours in the day, and you can only trade so many of your hours for dollars, right? You can only book, say, if you're he says like hair cutter or massage therapist, or relevant to this audience, jiu-jitsu instructor. There's 3 classes that you can possibly have in the day. There's the morning class, the 6 a.m. class, the noon class, and then the evening class, right? And those are like the scalable classes. Those, if you have a big enough mat space, you can have like 50 people on the mat or whatever, if you're lucky to have a big enough mat space. And then in between, the game is to fill that time with private lessons. If you're that type of, like, if you're all in on jiu-jitsu, like you're trying to put everything into jiu-jitsu, that's how you like monetize your time. And there's only so much time, right? You can only book so many privates per day. So that's the Mediocristan model. And in booking privates, that's the Mediocristan model for jiu-jitsu. And for being a jiu-jitsu gym owner, you're now unbounded. You're now not selling just your time. You're selling your space. You're selling your access to your gym. So that's the scalable part of the jiu-jitsu classes. Like if you can get up to 50 people. So the Mediocristan version of jiu-jitsu is if you're just an instructor and you get paid hourly. You get no benefit for each additional person in your class, right? Say somebody walks in and you sign them up. If you don't get a commission off of that or some kind of arrangement, that's probably unlikely with your gym owner. You're an hourly wage slave. So you cannot get ahead. Like it's very hard for you to get ahead, right? So the Extremistan, according to Taleb, is unbounding this but and that's kind of I'm going to backtrack a little bit because there's only so much space in a jiu-jitsu gym, right? So it can't go full Extremistan, right? It can't get fully unbounded. You're bounded by the limitations of your gym, like the physical space in your gym, the width, the height and width, or not height, but width and depth of the gym. The physical dimensions of the gym, you're limited to that. How many people you can pack in there. So that's still like you can only have, but you can sign up as many people as you want. I guess that's the Extremistan version. Is that there's some physical limitation that after which point people aren't going to sign up anymore if they see it's all full. If it's whatever night class and there's 50 people on the mat and they don't see like room for themselves to be there, then maybe they there's attrition there. But so that's kind of Mediocristan, Extremistan. But the true Extremistan is, so again, Taleb, he's from the Mediterranean. He says he's from the Mediterranean, not the Middle East. And so Istan is like all these Stan countries nearby where he grew up. So so the Extremistan example, the scalable example here is like RIP Go Grappling. Like there is no limit to how many subscriptions that you could sell. Or Athletes Ocean now is the new kids in town, and they're doing much better. Or unfortunately Fanatics. Like I don't know. I dislike Fanatics because they are they give people a terrible deal, but it's like better than nothing. So you're unbounded. You're completely unbounded. You're not shipping DVDs at this point. You are just selling subscriptions. Like it requires no additional unit of work to sell another stream, or to sell another access to your course, or to your like lessons, or what, or jiu-jitsu, like your instructionals or whatever, right? So it's the tale of these two things, right? It's the a very extreme case where in the extreme case, it's all or nothing. It's very power law based, and this is like VC's startup funding, is that it's very few startups are going to make it, but the ones that do make it are going to make it big. Like that's the whole idea of like VC's funding hundreds of startups at a time, is that some are going to fail, and that's expected, and some are going to like take off, and you want to catch a ride on the next Facebook or whatever other name any big tech company, and they were a startup at one point. So Facebook was just the kind of the one that I grew up with. That was like I watched The Social Network as a college student, and as an aside here, The Social Network had a much different effect on me when I was a college student than what it has on me now. Like when I was a college student, it like motivated the hell out of me to like, oh man, I want to go program, I want to go hack, and like go make something happen. I kind of ignored the interpersonal conflicts between Zuck and Eduardo, and that's amazing. I can remember Eduardo Saverin's name, but that's how it impacted me. It was that I was like, damn, like after not running like too many businesses, but I'm like, okay, I understand interpersonal conflict, interpersonal like dynamics, and like how much trust you have in that co-founder relationship. So like screwing your business partner over, like that's not good. Like that's very not good. And anyways, so, and like that's like lawsuits, but you start businesses with your friends, right? Like that, you start businesses with people that you know. So that's what makes it even worse. So anyways, that's like the side of like Facebook and like that startup land type of thing. Yeah, VC's funding a bunch of, so this is like, I listen to the All In podcast, and that's all they talk about is there are a bunch of venture capitalists on there. It's very good. Like it's very informative in terms of like you definitely see where the money is going. They are the start. They are the top of the funnel in terms of where technology is going, because they're funding it. They're funding the next wave of technology, and you get an insight in where they call themselves capital allocators, which is like the most cringe term ever. But I guess that's if that's the term, that's the term. But they, you kind of say, I don't know. It's very interesting to see where you kind of see the earliest part of where the puck is heading. You see the earliest, tiniest little nudge of like where all the money is going to go, right? So they fund a bunch of startups, and they fund at different stages. Like apparently there's this like system of funding startups, and there's whatever different seed round, Series A, B, C, whatever, like a system to getting to like launching companies, right? so and they talk about power law dynamics where it's a winner take all. You have to, like, there's only Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and like there's 4 social networks out there, 4 major social networks: LinkedIn, Snapchat, like, okay, 4, 5, 6, like major ones. Everything else is just kind of like, all right, whatever. Like, if you want to become an influencer, you have to become an influencer on one of those, right? YouTube. I'm uploading this to YouTube, of course. Spotify, kind of, sort of, like it's a podcast aggregator, so it's different. But yeah, so the power law Extremistan, what Taleb is calling Extremistan, in 2007, mind you, 2007, before it was really cool. Startups were really cool, and he learned about the scalability thing in 1987. So I think that's another thing where it's interesting to read older books. Like, you shouldn't. That's one of his other tenets or whatever, is that time susses out ideas. If something has been around for a long time, it's probably good. Like I think that idea is in his anti-fragility book, anti-fragile book. I'm going through and reading his books in order, and just kind of like seeing how his ideas develop over time. He says you can like read them in any order, but I don't know. I just like having this like date locked in here too. Like, he's talking about pretty, like, the dates are, it dates itself by saying, oh, people are addicted to their iPods, right? Versus iPhones. But the screens, and I think that this is something that Peter Thiel has said at various times, is that, or Eric Weinstein through Peter Thiel through Eric Weinstein, is that if you took our world and you just changed out the screens, or if you just blacked out the screens, it all looks the same, like as it did 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, right? Like, we still have cars. Nothing has fundamentally changed in that time. If we just remove the technology, nothing has really fundamentally changed. So so that's the idea, is like, good ideas stick around, and they're sussed out over time. They are, quote unquote, de-risked. So that's why it's cool for people to people go back and read the Stoics, and people are, I haven't read the Stoic, I haven't read Stoic philosophy yet, but like that's the cool thing to do if you're an Instagram influencer and you want to post cool quotes every day or whatever, right? So I'm doing the opposite, or not opposite, but I am doing the same thing, but with Talebian quotes or Talebian ideas, and recording them, not passing them off as my own, but I'm consolidating them, crystallizing them, and kind of repackaging them in this video podcast type of way. So reading, and that was from 20 pages. Like, I'm on page 36. And so that led me to consider, okay, where am I weak, or where am I what's Mediocristan and Extremistan in my view. And I think I need to be, since we just like spent a bunch of money and went overseas. We had a great time in Europe for a month. That's amazing, and I would never trade that again, or I would never trade anything for that. It's just like, okay, that's a lot of money, but what is that also worth? What moving forward? How can we better, like we did a whole like marriage ceremony there, and like it was amazing. Like, wouldn't trade it for the world. It was quite possibly one of the most beautiful moments of my life. So it was, yeah, totally worth it. Now that we don't have any like weddings to pay for or major trips to pay for right now, now it's like a reset. Now it's like, okay, because that was our lives the last couple of years. It's like, oh, well, all right, sell whenever I get stock in from my employer, sell it, and that's the fun money. That's the pay for the wedding money, or just any kind of lumpy type of thing, right? Like, we've had a lot of life changes the last couple of years in terms of moved out to Las Vegas, bought a house, got engaged, bought a house, got engaged. Now got married twice. So it's, now that we've gotten all this like lumpy stuff out of the way, now it's kind of more a time for reflection. And that's what got me thinking, was like reading this book. I was like, okay, how do I want to set up my financial life? And I dove into dividend investing, and I am not a financial planner. This is not financial advice, but my strategy is that I have a 401k through my employer, and that was underfunded, or it has been underfunded for a while, and I need to probably do some kind of like backdoor Roth IRA type of thing to catch up. And then, because that is like a super long future, that the one thing about 401ks is that trips me out is that it's locked up until 65. Basically, you can't touch it. Maybe if you're lucky, 59 and a half or something like that. Like, you can't touch it until the far future. So now I'm thinking, okay, what if I need money like sooner, right? So I need to like catch up on the 401k. No questions asked about that. That should be in a good spot. But after that, I need to bring up some type of short game. Not short as in this is different than like stock investing, long versus short. If you're long a stock, you're holding it, buying and holding it for a long time. If you're short a stock, you're betting against it, essentially, and you're going to win if the stock goes down. This is more of a long-term strategy versus short, medium-term strategy. Long-term strategy, that's, like retire, have a bunch of money, can do whatever we want in the future. After I'm retired, great, perfect. Like, that should just be automatic. That's guaranteed, or not guaranteed, but like set up in such a way that, okay, I don't have to worry about that. But like the medium term, until we get to that far future, 65, how do we navigate that? And now that's kind of where dividend investing comes in, is dividend investing in a brokerage account. So, like people like their stonks and their, their meme coins or meme stocks and their Nvidias and whatever. I just kind of I'm going to put things into these like 2 dividend stocks. I'm not even going to say it's like the normal ones. I totally forget right now. Just because I don't want this to be construed as financial advice. Definitely not financial advice. So my idea is that this short game, short to medium term, there's a lot of volatility in there, right? And a lot of volatility leading up until I retire. So and like I've talked to different friends about this before, and I guess I never really considered the thought of like the usefulness of dividends in like the short to medium term. So basically the dividend stocks or dividend ETFs. So to be clear, like I'm just investing in these like very broad market ETFs, and they're going to yield like 3%. So now I have like a different perspective on money. Like that's a very hard number of like, okay, this ETF is going to yield 3%. That's 3 pennies on the dollar. Every dollar for over the next year will be worth $1.03. Doesn't seem like much, but if you take that over 30 years, a dollar yields, I think it was $2.70, right? So, and that's just a yearly compounding of just the dividends. If I add money to that brokerage account over time, of course that like grows and grows more. But those dividend stocks also have value to them, right? So it's not just if you think of like a bond where you're buying a bond, and if you hold it to term, you get your money back plus 5% or whatever the bond yields are right now. This is a potentially appreciating asset because you're investing into the stock market overall. Market tends to go up and to the right, but this is my over long periods of time. And this is my hedge against, say, if the stock market doesn't go up and to the right. This is you get income in the absence of like growth, right? So that income can be reinvested into buying more and more shares of dividend stock. So these are the 2 plays I'm doing. Is that I need to shore up the 401k, have an first emergency fund. Like we're kind of broke right now, but that'll be shored up. Then shore up 401k. Then shore up this kind of quote unquote passive income stream. And then that is Mediocristan for me. That is like, hey, this is, I'm securing this is the worst possible, like raising up the worst possible scenario, right? Raising the level of that, where if, say, I don't know, in some far future or whatever, not far future, say medium term future, at some point, if I save up $1 million, if that's possible, like over the next 10, 15 years, doable on a software developer's salaries plus stocks and whatnot, that yields at the minimum like 30 grand a year. That's not nothing. And that's at current market rates. That's our house payment. right? That's our mortgage payment. So, but that's our mortgage payment forever. That's the strange thing is that, that's like rent, something that will pay our rent forever. And since I'm investing in two ETFs and they are both invested in probably similar companies, they probably overlap some, but they also are kind of diversified as well, diversified differently. So this is the super Mediocristan position. Is like, I am accepting that this money isn't going to do much, but it's going to do something very consistently over time. And then my 401k money is going to do whatever over the next 30 years or so. Or, like whenever I want to retire, and that I can't touch those funds still, but now I have this kind of dividend investing type of thing. And that's, that would be quote unquote passive income. So where do I take risk? And taking risk to get into like Extremistan is how I handle my career. Like my career's mostly been Mediocristan so far. And it's might be around time to change that. Like I need to take a little bit more risk in my career. And to do that, I need to be good. I have to actually be like, yes, I'm good at my job, but I have to be better. If I want to go and test myself on the open market, I've been with the same company for 9 years now. So I haven't tested myself against the open market in a while. Even though I'm very good at my job in this company and with what I do, I need to know what I'm worth in the open market. So I need to and to protect against like the God forbid, knock on wood, my employer had layoffs. Like a lot of tech companies had layoffs earlier this year. And if I ever got laid off, then I should be ready to interview. So the idea is to be able to interview at any time. Like, what's the saying? Just stay ready so you don't have to get ready, right? And I said something along the lines of this, like, I don't know, it went around the time of those layoffs, but I was like, I was more motivated then, but at some point I just gave up because it's very hard. Like computer science, software engineering interviews are very divorced from day-to-day work. And it's very strange. Like you would think that doing your job would make you good at interviews, but it's a completely different skill set. It's almost like a marketing type of skill set, right? And software developers aren't generally good at marketing. Our job isn't to market ourselves. It's to solve very specific problems in our company systems and make things work better. And it's not to solve these kind of general puzzle type of problems where you solve you code algorithms, like very toy versions of algorithms, not the YouTube algorithm or whatever, the Instagram algorithm. It's the boring data structures and algorithms, very academic type of things. And I haven't done these in years. And so I need to step up in my game. And if I do want to I'm at 9 years at my current employer. So if I want to leave at some point or be prepared for potentially another layoff, who knows? I just need to be ready. So I need to get ready and then stay ready. So that's one aspect I need to put time into. And then another aspect is being able to like have other skills, developing other skills that are, again, like sellable on the open market. So if that's getting certifications to prove to people, hey, I'm good at this, right? Like not just the programming aspect, but like, hey, the systems design aspect. Like there's all these different technologies and certifications and whatnot to show that I am in fact the guy. I am in fact him, technology wise. So I need to take more risks with my job is basically what I'm saying. Not in my job, of course not. Like that's definitely not a risk taking. Like taking risk within my career, I guess, is the best way to put it. So Jiu-Jitsu is, very absent away from, and for good reason. It's my hobby. It's my thing that I get away from all of this money stuff, like the bullshit of life. Like that, the mats are pure. The mats are pretty, like it's very focused for me. There isn't a, like, yes, I do private lessons here and there and whatnot, but it's not a focus for me. It's not a very, it's not my intention to be the best jiu-jitsu person. Like that's, I want to be as good as I can be, but I'm not going to make money off of jiu-jitsu. Like that seems to be like mixing things that shouldn't be mixed for me. That turns my hobby into a job, and I already have one job and it pays me pretty well, but I also want to get better at that one job. So I need to like focus my money making efforts on like doubling down. Gary Vee says triple down on what you're good at, what your strengths are. So I need to triple down on these different things, these different technical skills, and be ready to demonstrate those technical skills. So yeah, like I think that's, if to end it on a jiu-jitsu note, keep jiu-jitsu. If you have a regular ass job and you have you're out of the money in terms of making it as a world champion or like having a career in jiu-jitsu, like keep it as a hobby, make it as a fun hobby. Like don't yes, train hard and do as well as you want to, do as well as you can. And people fucking do, like professionals with careers actually do well at professional grappling. I know that's like, people think, oh, you're totally, you have to be totally focused on one thing, and to be the best at one thing, you have to, like, what do you think Gordon Ryan is? He's a businessman. Like he trains, I don't know, probably 6 hours a day, but there's 8 hours more that he could be doing other stuff, and he does other stuff. He films instructionals, he shit posts on Instagram, like he does all this stuff to market and promote himself, and it's all integrated into jiu-jitsu. But that training aspect, I'm a part-time, it's a part-time job for me, or part-time hobby for me. So the first 3 hours of my day are dedicated to jiu-jitsu. So I'm putting in about half of the number of hours that probably professional athletes are putting in. But there's examples of like John Thorpe Blank. He was my initial inspiration for training so hard for ADCC trials, and because he was just a 9 to 5 electrician. He had a real job, real ass job, and he placed at ADCC trials, and he got invited to the big show and placed fourth in the real ADCC World Championship 2019. And there's others like the who's gonna call it lawyer guy. I forget his name, but he won minus 99 kilos at the West Coast trials last year in my division. So Alex Pardilla, I forget. I think he's a 10th planet. No, not 10th planet. He trains out of Atlanta. So, anyways, kind of rambling, but I kind of reading just a few pages of this book, The Black Swan, realigned what I want my life. Not it wasn't totally off the rails, but I spent the whole day because my wife was just out doing stuff and whatnot, so I had a lot of time just to think and kind of just spin on this and really get into the weeds on dividend stuff and investing and whatnot. And now it's like, okay, now I just click. I just can set it all up, click run, and I don't need to worry about that. And I can focus on tripling down on my profession and reading more and doing the technical studying and whatnot to improve my skills. Improve the skills that have paved the way for me so far. I just need to do it more, and so I can do more, earn more. So, alrighty, until next time. I don't know. I don't know. I have a. I've been listening to this podcast called Children of the Watch, and they say until next time, keep the watch. So some kind of I don't know, end catchphrase thing. Let me know if you can think of it. Anything. Until next time, be human. Humans of grappling or whatever. So I don't know. Anyways, have a good one.